television business, or as I often like to say, the business of TV is going through a rapid evolution. It's obviously it's not only about the screen on the wall, it's about our devices, it's about good content in lots of places and lots of formats. And so certainly one of the things that we are all dealing with in the ad business is the fact that as content lives in all these new places, consumers are voting differently on how they want to consume content and capturing their attention, not just to the content, but for us, the advertising that provides that content access has to change. And so one of the things we were set up to talk about today is how is that going? How are we evolving and moving past the quote standard ads business that we might think of today, and how are we innovating both in kind of new formats and new currencies, new measurements, and the like. And so where I thought we'd start today though is on the consumer, and to get everyone's perspective on how do we as advertisers and this industry think about how do we keep the attention of customers, knowing that we see them voting for ad-free models every day. I think we all know in the discussions out there that the idea of 40 minutes of content for 20 minutes of advertising mix is just not the future. Head nods. And so let's just go back and forth and get some perspectives on how you guys are all thinking about driving that customer attention and new things and new ideas you're trying from that perspective. So Amanda, we'll start in the middle. What do you think?
Great, yeah. No, this battle for attention is really sparking different ways of working, and we're excited about now it's becoming less of a focus just on the precision and data and targeting and keeping that within the realms of digital, into media only, into now leaning more and maybe back to the creative agencies and a different level of collaboration to recognize that we need to actually help develop the stories and the messages that are bespoke to these new ad formats and platforms and broader distribution. So I think this battle for attention is now starting to have more conversations across media agencies and creative agencies in the room to understand what do we do together to bring the right message into the right context, instead of what had been more precision marketing only, but sometimes at the expense of storytelling.
Yeah, great. John, you just came from, as you said, the creative side of the aisle. I mean, sure, you think a lot about storytelling. What's your thoughts on capturing attention in the media world?
Well, it's funny because everyone says, oh, you've come from something, and that implies leaving something behind. And I think, it's not lost on me that we're here in Cannes, and I think media more and more is just as innovative and in some ways just as creative as the creative storytellers in a creative agency. But, you mentioned the consumer, and I think that no one's ever really gone wrong by considering the consumer first and foremost. You're seeing, I think, some real evolution in terms of innovation in different formats. If you think of what Fox is doing with Jazz Pods or NBC with Prime Pods, and you're seeing a variety of different formats coming to life. But I think a lot of the conversation is around formats. I think more and more we have to change and tilt the conversation more to experiences. I know it's a buzzword, forgive me, but I think experiences, considering what we know, and we know a ton more about the consumer today because of the role of data and how we're looking at the behavior patterns and the wants and desires of consumers, but starting with that data and using that to inform innovation in formats, which we certainly do with Nissan.
Yeah, and I think its relevancy is actually kind of the key, because that becomes what the experience is, because we know so much more about who our consumers are and what they're interested are, that we need to be serving up content and experiences to them that's relevant. So in the case of automotive, we know when they're going to be in market. We even know what type of vehicle that they're in market for. So we should not be advertising a van to them if they're interested in a sedan, and we know that type of information. And then it's to the point of how can you combine media and creative to actually deliver that message, which I think is still not something that we're able to do at scale, but it's definitely something that we're trying to build towards.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would throw onto this, and I'm heartened and I love the discussion that's happening these days around bringing the consumer back to the center, because while I've not been with the company terribly long, Truex has been around for years, and really from the beginning said we need to think about the consumer. We need to respect the consumer. We have got to think about messaging and context, advertising, and an experience that is worthy of that consumer's attention. And if we're not delivering that, then we really have no right to be there and to be expecting something back. So I think that the work that we've been doing, and actually we work with everybody here, which is tremendous, and it's nice to be in Cannes because everyone we work with is represented here. The creative side of the business, the media side of the business, the agency side, client marketers, and even the technology companies and measurement companies we partner with to deliver. So.